Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me on a Thursday, things get spicy on Thursdays, apparently, on Down to Dunk. And Alex and I are delivering a special episode for you guys today, just so that we can get through all these trade targets before we get to the draft. The draft is just around the corner. And if you are looking for something to do on draft night and you are in Oklahoma City, I need you to go to the Jones Assembly with the Down to Dunkers. All the Dunkers are going to be at the Jones Assembly on the night of the draft. So join us. The draft begins at 7. I would get there earlier than that. It's just going to be a really fun time. Don't stay home. Don't stay home for the draft. Come to the Jones Assembly. Hang out with us. It will be worth your time, and also you'll get to talk to people that actually follow the draft and that care about the Thunder. In which case, I don't know if there's people at your home that do that have those two things in common with you. So please join us at the Jones Assembly the night of the draft. Hope you guys are doing great. With me, Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Andrew? I forgot it was a Thursday pod. I don't really have anything.
Nothing spicy.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything I'm angry about.
Oh man, we'll have to find something to just get so miffed about.
I would have been mad if PJ Washington had hit that corner three,
Yeah,
but he missed it, so I was pretty happy. It's like, oh, great.
He did miss it. And I was asking. I did a podcast last night with Tim Cato and Jay King, and there was a moment at the end of the game. Did you see Al Horford just absolutely lose his mind at the end of that game?
No.
We just grabbed a rebound. There was 40 seconds left, I think. They were only up 4. And he just sprints up the court with the ball and just looks like he is absolutely panicked. And gets himself glued to the sideline on the other side of the court. No one else is down there yet but a Mavs defender. He traps him down by the bench, and Horford steps out of bounds and turns the ball over. I'm like, what is going on here? It's what? Why is this? Why is this happening? This is a 4-point game. You guys just need to slow it down. Maybe get some free throws or something. It was just very weird. I don't know. Maybe his old man body can't handle 37 minutes of play. But it was very, very weird.
Very lucky for him. The Mavericks very, very good at overcoming massive deficits, but then not being able to win.
Yeah, we know that from experience for sure. That created one of the funniest press conference settings for the Thunder this season is when you get to watch the guys look over their box scores. I made a short for it, and it was so funny to me. That was amazing. That was so funny. What a crazy game. Looking like the Celtics are going to win. Looking like, obviously the Celtics are a more talented team, but the style of play too, which is I think not crazy dissimilar to the Thunder's, is the style of play is just winning out. Where Dallas is big time creators, standstill shooters, defenders, where the Celtics are trying to create something similar to the Thunder, where it's a lot of drive and kick. It's a lot of guys that can do everything.
I would say the lesson learned for me is that the Thunder don't have enough of those guys.
Yeah, totally.
Celtics truly have moments where every single guy on the court is a threat to drive and actually do something at the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there were just too many moments thinking back where the Thunder would be 2 guys short or 3 guys short that could do that, that could actually do that. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the guys on the Thunder theoretically could do that, and at times during the season were able to do that. But man, in the playoffs, you really do, at least if you're not going to have the best player in the league, which the Boston doesn't, you really do kind of have to have 5 top 60 guys in the league to make it all work. And yeah, I mean, I saw someone tweeting about how, yes, Luka's defense has been bad, but that's partially due to the fact that he just has so much more to do against a team like Boston than the previous teams they played against. Because you think about like with Minnesota, like you're really just worried about Ant most of the time in terms of like someone creating on you and having to worry about him.
Yeah.
Even with the Thunder, it was like theoretically Shea and J-Dub, although J-Dub didn't have the greatest series. And then against Boston, it's just like everyone. Like there is really no one for him to get a breather against.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that makes me more open to drafting another guard, or it's not really about being a guard, but just I just want more players like that. And if they do come in a guard package, I'm not going to push them away just because the Thunder already have a lot of good guards.
Yeah, this is why I love the idea of Bub Carrington or even Jared McCain. I know McCain's like not as big, he doesn't have the wingspan and stuff like that, but he's just like another guard that can create and shoot and help you in that way. Bub Carrington, I think, has the size and length and defensive ability though, and he's less of a shooter. And so then it becomes like a question, like what do you want?
Yeah.
But yeah, I would not shy away from taking another guard, would not shy away from that at all. Yeah. And that's why you also, like, I know that there's a lot of guys that the Thunder fans wish that they would take, but that's why like having guys that are more standstill shooters just aren't as valuable in the league anymore. They used to be like staples of every single starting lineup, but if you need to have more than two skills, And so I think like you have to swing for guys that have like 3 and 4 skills, on the court these days that are going to play big minutes for you. Because if not, it becomes harder and harder for them to stay on the court if they're not making shots. Like with Drew Holiday and with Derek White, both those guys, if they're not making shots, can still contribute to your team.
Yeah.
Like those are the kind of guys that you need. And so I think still searching for those kind of guys and shuffling the roster a little bit is necessary and probably going to happen to a degree this summer. But I think you feel good about Shea, J-Dub. I think Lou is like right on the fringe of being one of those guys, and is obviously important to the Thunder. Chet, Case and Wallace, like those are the 5 that I'm like, I feel very confident about those 5. And then like Ajo and Wiggins as like bench guys, yes, feel good about that. And then I think there's work to do, honestly. And maybe some of these other guys develop. Maybe Jang develops. Maybe Jay Will develops. But they still don't have like firm answers on a lot of these guys. So there's still a lot of work to do, and I'm really interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be hard to replicate Boston though, and I think the advantage the Thunder have is that Shea can be better. I think he was better than Tatum this year. Like the OKC's best player can be better than Boston's best player. I think it's going to be really hard though to replicate the like 5 top 50 guys or whatever. I mean, you can probably get close with a couple trades. We think that Chet and J-Dub can obviously be top 50 guys. So you can maybe get 2 more of those through trades over these next couple seasons. But that's the part of their model that is just going to be so tough for people, because you look back at the trades that they made to get those guys. And this happens a lot of times, but you look back and it's just like, how did that ever happen? How did, like, it requires a perfect storm of events almost each time.
Yeah.
The fact that they got a top 4 protected pick back in the Porzingis deal.
Yeah.
In addition to Porzingis. Like those, and then that pick was used to acquire Drew Holiday. You just have to get so lucky. They obviously got super lucky with the Paul George Shea trade.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to swing on a couple more where they got lucky. And maybe just having so many picks.
Yeah.
What are you going to say?
I was just going to say, got lucky in the lottery. Got
yeah.
Had the J-Dub pick from the Clippers trade too.
Yeah.
Like the league is so much like, sure, it's like preparation. It's like just preparation and luck, just like meeting all the time. Like that's what it is, like to form like the right roster. I mean, even for like the Timberwolves to get the number 1 pick in that draft and to choose Ant, like Ant wasn't like the foregone conclusion at number 1 in that draft. They could have taken LaMelo. Things could look a lot different for them. They could have taken James Wiseman. There were some people out there saying that James Wiseman should have been the number 1 pick. It's a lot of it is just kind of luck. And now like the Thunder you have to be prepared and ready to pounce on that luck. And some of that, I really do believe like some of that could come into place this summer for OKC. I think that the opportunities start now, like identifying those opportunities and what they are, and then being ready to go, because now you're armed with like everything a team could want. One, you have like the 3 young stars on your team. Like everybody would want that. You have all the draft picks. You have cap space. You have players to trade. You have everything. And now it's like time to capitalize, to start capitalizing on this stuff. And who knows if like the right deal comes forward. Maybe the right deal isn't out there, but at least you're going to be ready and prepared if it does.
Yeah, I saw a point made by JPOSU on Twitter, which was that not only do they have these picks, they have players, but they specifically have players that would be useful to some of these teams that are coming up against some of the apron requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just that you can trade for some of their better players on bigger contracts. You can offer them not just picks, but you could offer them players that really would be helpful to them on cheaper deals.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously we love Aaron Wiggins. I would love to see Aaron Wiggins on this team forever, but he could be a very valuable piece to a contending team somewhere else who just needs to save a bit of money, and maybe they're willing to take a step down by trading away a better player, feeling like, well, at least we're getting back someone who can be in our rotation, even if they're not as good as the player we're sending away.
Yeah.
So it just feels like OKC could trade with anyone. Like they have the assets to satisfy any team in the league.
Yeah. Well, and like with guys like Aaron Wiggins, I think like something that we did learn over this season is like he is a good 8th or 9th guy, and somebody that you feel good about having on your roster. Which this season was like all about like what can you learn, like what can you learn about this roster? What can you learn about where this team is going?
Andrew, some of us would say we've known that forever. As Wiggins heads, we've been out there. Except, okay, not me at Summer League. So I was pissed that we were excited about a 55th overall pick. But once the season started, us Wiggins heads were there from the beginning.
You were so mad. That was the original Thursday pod.
That was, yeah.
It's like, you would be excited about Aaron Wiggins.
I was so pissed that we were excited about a 55th overall pick.
And he turns out
for half a season, and you're trying to get me excited about like the last guy in the draft, basically.
And what's funny is like, and we don't know what's going to happen with Josh Giddey. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with Josh Giddey.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're going to say. Yeah. He might be like the last man standing from
that draft. Yeah. From that class, for the Thunder. Like, he may not be. They may extend Giddey. I don't know. But like, Wiggins could be like the guy that lasts from that draft class. It felt so at the time. It felt like, oh my gosh, they need to nail this draft. And they may have not. And it also may have not mattered at all because they did so well in the next draft, getting J-Dub and Chet. Like, that's all you need to do. It's just like with the Sixers. Like, the Sixers whiffed on so many things, and like they still ended up okay because they nailed the Embiid pick,
I don't know if they ended up okay, Andrew.
Well, they ended up getting out of like they're not the Pistons right now.
No, they're not. They're not.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
It's just hard to watch this Boston team who drafted 2 picks behind the Sixers in 2 consecutive drafts and just see where the Sixers are.
Yeah. Yeah. All I'm saying is like they at least got them out of the hole, even though like you look back at it, it is tragic. Some of the things that happened and like some of the picks that they made to get 2 guys at number 1 overall that ended up being like nothing.
Yeah. To have the number 1 pick in consecutive drafts
and pick the wrong guy twice.
It does not matter.
Yeah. I mean, that is crazy. And all I'm saying is they found themselves in like a place to be competitive. And for the Thunder, And that's what I'm saying with the Thunder is like they have already they have their Embiid like guy in Shea, and then they nailed 2 picks. You know, like imagine had the Sixers have nailed 2 of those top picks and had Embiid. You know, like I think that's like the position that the Thunder are in right now. Now, again, they need to capitalize on a lot of things to get to the ultimate destiny for them. But they've already made it as far as the Sixers ever had in this era because they did nail those 2 picks.
Yeah.
Um,
Man, I'm looking back at the Wiggins draft.
yeah.
Just from pick 50 on, Brandon Boston Jr., Luka Garza, Charles Bassey, Mamu, and Yorgos Kalazakis, and Jericho Sims.
Are these just like names that you know?
No, I'm just saying like I was trying to see like who's the best like 55th plus pick. Obviously, I know Isaiah Thomas, but I was just trying to see if there was anyone else. I was just surprised that there's some guys who are still on rosters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he's the best of them. Wiggins is the best.
Yeah, he's like one of the best. Yeah. He's one of the best 55th overall picks.
He's got to be.
Potentially.
Oh, Trace Jackson Davis. Yeah, that was a good one from last year. That was 57.
Yeah. Isaiah Wong was the 55th pick last year. That's kind of cool.
He's played 4 minutes.
Let's see. Kyle Guy, 55th overall pick.
I remember.
Oh, yeah, I've done this before. Joffrey Laverne, Samaj Christian. They like
both of them were?
Yes. We've done this before. Patty Mills, who was also on the Thunder for a hot
second. He's the greatest of all time.
Luis Scola is the greatest.
Oh, okay.
55th. Yeah.
What about Chris Clack? That's a cool name.
Chris Clack. Rick Rickert.
That's a cool name too. Chris Clack and Rick Rickert.
Rickert Rill and Herbert Hill.
Wow.
This is great.
A lot of alliteration here.
There's a lot. Anyways, for Aaron Wiggins, he's got some work to do to get past Luis Scola as the best 50 pick overall. You want to talk about some trade targets, Al?
Yeah. So we have our last division in the Western Conference, Pacific Division. As I mentioned a week ago, I really couldn't justify including any Lakers or Clippers. I tried to do it because I'd like to choose at least one person from each team. From the Lakers, okay, remember it has to be someone who is going to be a top 8 rotation player on the Thunder. Mm-hmm. Like you could say Jackson Hayes theoretically fits as like a backup center, but is he gonna do you know that he's gonna play?
No, don't do that.
They're not gonna trade for D'Angelo Russell.
Rui?
Rui
Hachimura?
Yeah.
Gonzaga front court?
That is true. Yeah, I'm not a big Rui guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like a Thunder guy. Thunderman. He had a negative assist turnover ratio in pretty much every season. Actually,
not last year.
Sorry. I was looking at personal fouls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess if you want to talk about Rui, we can.
If he's he's your big coming off the bench, and like the Lakers are in a position where they're like, we need draft picks because we need to make a trade,
All right, I'll add him to the list, Andrew. Is there anyone you want to add from the Clippers?
Let me look them over real quick. It's probably a waste of time, honestly.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, I would argue all of this is, but
what about Russell Westbrook? Bringing him back up PG. Shoot past dribble.
You know what? Sure, let's include him because I'm sure there are probably a lot of Russ fans listening to us.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, we'll include. He's unrestricted, right? Or they have to decide whether to bring him back. I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what
I think he has a. He has a $4 million player option.
Oh, player. So he's got to figure out what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Trade for KD. Bring back Russ, and go get your title with Russ and KD finally.
And put just put Shea on the bench I mean, if you really want the title to matter, you got to start Russ, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. You let SGA win Sixth Man of the Year.
Oh, that would be sweet. That'd be sweet. Going from second in the MVP to winning Sixth Man.
Winning Sixth Man.
I don't know if that's been done. Okay, starting with the Pacific Division, we're going to start with Golden State, the Golden State Warriors. Warriors. Starting off with Klay Thompson. I'm including him because a lot of people like him. They like bringing him up. He is an unrestricted free agent. You can get him. Won't cost you anything in terms of assets other than your own money.
It's true.
So, Andrew, what do you think about Klay's fit on the Thunder, 1 through 5?
So Klay had a decent. He did not have a great season last year, but he had a decent season. He still averaged almost 18 points per game last season. 3 boards.
He still shot the ball well. He still took a ton of threes.
Took 9 threes per game at 38%. Obviously, you're gonna have to guard Klay. The question to me is like, what position does Klay Thompson play in the year 2024? Like, in what position would he play on the Thunder? Like, I mean, he is a big wing now, if not like playing the 4 at times, because I just don't know with the foot speed that he can stay with anybody anymore. It's like that's the concern. Is like he's a tweener in a bad way, in a way like, hey, we don't really know where we can put you. He had some decent defensive moments, but like you just know in the back of your mind that like he could get cooked. And there were times where the Warriors couldn't close with him.
Yeah.
And so there's certainly a concern there, but if you just like imagine a lineup where he's in place of Giddy and it's Klay Thompson in the corner or Klay Thompson running off curls, it's like, yeah, like there's definitely something to like there, but he's 34, but with like an old 34 because of the injuries. So I think the fit is probably like a 3. Like you could definitely see a world where a guy like that who like famously doesn't dribble, a guy who just like catch and shoot is gonna, but is going to move around the defense as he's doing it. Like, yeah, like I think Klay Thompson fits with anybody and everybody for sure, but timeline wise and group wise, I just don't know that he's the kind of guy you want to bring in right now.
What do you think about Klay's overall impact potentially on the Thunder?
I mean, it would probably be a 4. Adding a shooter of that caliber, with that kind of volume,
Oh,
and
Andrew,
also
you're talking yourself into Klay.
just as I mean, it's not insane to think that a guy that is a high volume 3-point shooter could really help this team.
Yeah.
Like that's something that they really truly lack, is like a guy that will come in and take 9 or 10, in a game. It happens sometimes with Chet. It happens sometimes with other guys on the team. I think Isaiah Joe, given the opportunity, could do that, but he doesn't regularly do that. And Klay Thompson, in 29 minutes per game, averaged 9 attempts. Like the guy is a high volume 3-point shooter, and like I think that's something that they do lack in a real way. So I think it would be very impactful to them, and a team that like wants to take threes. They want to take a lot of threes.
So contract, you're likely. I'm guessing he makes like at least 360 as like the very minimum.
Oh, I think you would
But I
have
think
to.
he's going to get a lot more than that.
I think to get him away from Golden State, you would probably have to give him 2 for 60.
Yeah. But he would probably want just. I mean, if he could get years, he would probably just take. He would want years.
Yeah, and if you're the Thunder, I just don't know that you can't do that. You can't do
No,
that. This dude could fall off this dude could be done very soon. Like it could be.
Yeah.
Oh, like sometimes guys will just show up and it is over. It is over, and there's nothing you can do about it. And now you got 30 million on your books, and now you're gonna have to use a pick to get rid of the contract. I mean, it's just it's not palatable. It's like a 1, honestly. He's going to get overpaid. Some of it in name and some of it in production. Like he was not like a guy that was not productive at all, last year. But there is a clear fall off from where he was. I mean, his year 32 season, he was almost 22 points per game. Fell off, didn't play as many minutes, didn't get as many shots. There's reason to believe that there's a big fall off, and his percentage went down. Year over year. So he's a career 41% from three. He was 38 last year. He had some pretty cold stretches during the season. So there's a reason to believe in it. And a lot of it stems from the injuries that he's come back from. Like he did not come back as like the exact same guy. And so some of the stats look good and look similar, but he hasn't been an all-star since he was injured. And there are things to be worried about, certainly, with Clay. And to be the team that overpays the guy on the last leg of his deal, there are concerns about that it typically doesn't go well. Like Chris Paul right now, like not going well. So I just worry about those kind of guys.
All right. Andrew, how realistic is it?
1. I just don't see it being realistic.
Okay. Next up, Andrew Wiggins. We could get the other Wiggins, 6'7". He's making 26.3, 28.2, and then has a $30.2 million player option in 26-27. Okay. Fit for Wiggins, who this season obviously wasn't great. Still did shoot 37% from three, but he doesn't take very many. He only shot 34% from the corners. He's, it was not a good season for Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, the fits like what we were talking about with the Boston guys. Like he's not one of those guys. He's just notoriously not one of those guys. So the fit's like a 2. Like you could make it work, but it would feel a little bit forced. What is he? He'd be like he and Dort would be like the share like 4th option in the starting lineup, where it's just like, hey, take open shots, you two, like
yeah. Well, you'd only make the trade if you like genuinely think there's bounce back potential, because there was a time when Wiggins was very good. He was, I don't know if he ever had a shot, but he was in the running for like talking about Finals MVP in 2022.
Yeah. No, he had a great year. I mean, made an All-Star team, and it was in a strange way he made the All-Star team, but he did make it.
He did?
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented player. There's no doubt about it. But I think that Golden State
used to be. I feel like he used to be a Thunder killer.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been a Thunder killer.
Let me see.
Without a doubt, he's been a Thunder killer.
What do you think about his overall impact?
I think because he does have something that other Thunder guys don't have, is like he's got good size and strength and athleticism, where you could put him at the 4, where like you wouldn't want to put Aaron Wiggins there,
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could put this Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins there. So I think his impact would be pretty immediate. I think he would contribute defensively, right away. And so he's also Canadian. You have 3
That's
Canadians on, in your starting lineup.
Yeah, 3 in the starting lineup. Wow. And then once Zach Edey supplants Chet, that would be 4.
When Shaq Edey comes in, 4, and then and you get Kelly Olynyk comes in and supplants J-Dub. It's like, get out of here, J-Dub. We need only Canadians. No, I think this is impact?
Overall impact.
I think he would be like a 3 impact. I think he would definitely impact the team, but there's just so many times during the Golden State season where he just feels absent and is actually absent,
Yeah.
that I just don't know. I can't give it any higher than a 3.
His contract?
His contract is not great. He has a player option in 26, 27 for 30 million.
Yeah.
I don't like that. The 24 million is not bad that he had this year, but it's just goes up to 26, 28, 30. I think that is actively hurtful to the Thunder's cap sheet and to their actual financial goals with this team. So I think his contract is like a 1.
Yeah, if we were talking about Andrew Wiggins coming off the 22 championship, like, contract is fine because you know that you're getting a player who's going to come close to that value. But now you're paying the value and just hoping he gets back somewhere close to it.
Yeah.
It's just too risky when that would soak up most of the available free space that you have. It's the one move you could do, basically.
It's just people have flip-flopped on him because it started out with oh my gosh, I can't believe they gave him that money, and then it's like, oh my gosh, what a great value deal! This is the best value deal in the league right now, and now everybody's back to I can't believe they gave him that deal.
Okay, last one. How realistic, Andrew?
Oh, a 0 if I could give it a 0.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, now we're moving on to the Kings. Okay. Sacramento Kings. We got 4 Kings to talk about. 4 Kings. Oh, I skipped Moses Moody in case you're wondering. I removed him from the list. I do still like Moses Moody, but I can't guarantee that he would be a part of an 8-man rotation when he couldn't consistently break the rotation for a non-playoff team. So that is why I removed him. But I still do like him, and I would still talk myself very into it if they ever traded for him.
Oh yeah, more Arkansas guys. I mean, come on.
Big wingspan guy.
Yeah, good wingspan guy. Are we doing this now? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're not doing it. No, we're not doing it. Let's just say 5s across the board. Okay, just bring them in.
Give me Mosey.
No, next we're going to do Harrison Barnes, another player who his fan base is now very antsy about his contract because he did get an extension, although it is just for 2 more years, 18 and 19. Didn't have the greatest season, although statistically it seems fine. He still shot it well from 3, shot 41% from the corners, 39% overall. But he is a terrible rebounder, especially for someone who, he's pretty established as a power forward. And he's just an awful rebounder. Now, he does play with Sabonis, so that probably hurts him a little bit. But he's just never been an amazing rebounder. Okay, fit with the Thunder, Andrew. Harrison Barnes.
Ugh. I mean, it feels like, why? Is he the most placeholdery player in the NBA?
He might be. He's 32.
I mean, he's not. I mean, he can have a game here or there where he's very impactful, but it's like a 2. It's just a whatever. Why would you even do it? It's just is my question. What are we even doing?
He's definitely just something to do.
Yeah,
you just got a little money to spend. Let's just have this money laying around, burning a hole in my pocket. Let's just go get Harrison Barnes.
Yeah,
something to do. What do you think about his impact?
A 2. I just don't think he makes you all that better or all that worse.
Yeah, he averaged in 30 minutes a game, averaged 12 and 3 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, it's just he just is there taking up space, not killing you, but not taking you up a level.
He was so much better last year, though. I mean, he's never been a great rebounder, but he got to the line 5 times a game last year.
Yeah,
and that got cut in half, even though he only was playing 3 minutes less. Okay, what about his contract? 18 and 19, so it doesn't extend beyond 2 years. That's nice.
Again, very Harrison Barnes, placeholdery, nothing, not too good, not too bad.
Okay, I'll give another 2. Maybe we'll do 2s across the board, except for how realistic is this?
Oh, it's a 1. It's just why in the world would you even do it? Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
I would agree with that. Now let's move on to someone I do find a little bit more interesting, and that is Kevin Herter, who also had a bad season, worse than Harrison Barnes.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he just kind of vanished. He did shoot 45% from the corner this season.
Mm-hmm.
He had his worst shooting season overall, though. He shot 34% on above the break threes, whereas, traditionally he's been a very good three-point shooter. He does take a lot of them, which is great. Over 10 3-point attempts per 100 possessions.
Mm-hmm.
He does have passing chops, which that was the other thing I didn't bring up with both Wiggins and Barnes. Those guys aren't really playmakers in that way. Kevin Herter does have a little playmaking juice to him.
Yeah.
The reason why I don't know if I like him for the Thunder, but the reason why I think another team should take a chance on him is I just think he had a really bad season. And if you can get him for cheap, he's only 25. I still think he's worth investing in. His contract isn't crazy. Again, I don't know about for the Thunder, but anyways, 6'7". What do you think about his fit? Kevin Herter.
I kind of like Herter, honestly.
I like him too.
I think maybe he's a guy that you just acquire for a year and he's good. I don't know. Like, he was awesome for Sacramento in the 22-23 season. Like, just
He was great.
Like a game changer for them, like a godsend. And then last year, it was just strange how much worse he was. Like, I just don't really understand what happened there.
He was getting a lot of the shine 2 years ago that like Malik Monk was getting last year. Like, he was kind of that extra boost for them that they had needed. And they traded a first-round pick for him, and it really seemed like he was definitely living up to that. It was a career year, basically, in every stat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everybody's like talking on Atlanta for dealing him.
Yeah.
And, he's still a pretty young guy. I mean, he was only 25 this year.
He's only 25.
I like any trade that gives the Thunder more shooting. And if you believe in the shot and the passing, and like, he's a movement guy, he's not a standstill guy.
Yeah.
He's got a little wiggle to him. So I like Herter. I think he would play a nice role for the Thunder. So I think the fit is probably like a 4.
Wow. Okay. What about the overall impact?
It's hard to say because, again, we talked about this. Like, how much better is he than Aaron Wiggins? Is like does he cross the Wiggins line? Is the question that I have. Probably yes.
Yeah, I think definitely yes. Offensively, he can just do more. He's had more responsibility throughout his career than Wiggins.
Yeah.
Defensively, no. And another reason I knocked him personally for impact is he's been awful in the playoffs so far. It's only 30 games, but like, he's a career 30% shooter in the playoffs.
Yeah,
shot 20% from 3 in that 7-game series 2 seasons ago, or last season, I guess, against the Warriors. Which has been kind of a consistent thing. He just hasn't been great in the playoffs. Maybe it's a fluke, but so what do you think about his overall impact?
It's probably like a 2 or a 3. Like, I don't think he's changing your world by any stretch, and I don't think that he comes in and like starts either. So I'd probably say a 2. I mean, he's a bench shooter. It's not like he. It's not like he's going to come in and like take Isaiah Joe's place or something. Like, I don't.
His contract 16.8, 18, so only for the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's like a 4. It's a good deal. It's something that you could easily, basically tell Sacramento, like, hey, we'll give you basically draft capital back. You can like have a redo on this deal, and we'll just take him.
Yeah. And then what about how realistic is this?
It's probably like a 2. Like, I don't really see this like being high on the Thunder's priority list. Like, with what we said, they have guys in Wiggins and Joe that are already set similar levels to him. And so, like, what are we actually doing?
Moving on. Actually, I'm gonna delete a few guys. Just letting you know.
Okay.
So we're gonna do Malik Monk.
Yeah.
Unrestricted free agent. Obviously, could be an incredible guard off the bench for the Thunder. Something they were definitely missing in the playoffs. Someone who can just come in and score a ton of points and make it look easy a lot of nights. So, what do you think about the overall fit for Malik Monk?
I think they do certainly need somebody off the bench like this. I don't love adding another 6'3" guard, though.
Yeah.
That would be my only real hang up on him. The fact that if he did come to Oklahoma City, it would be via free agency, or I guess it could be via sign and trade too. But
Yeah.
it would probably be via free agency that you could get him without giving up anything. Like that to me is that would be one of the biggest things about it. But in order for that to be the case, you would have to overpay him. But I think fit wise, they do need somebody off the bench. So I'd say it's like a 4. I think that they could really use a creator to come in and spell J-Dub. Like if you had like a J-Dub, Malik Monk, pick and roll where either one of them could be the ball handler, it would be pretty interesting, to see them use him in those kind of actions. And Malik's a pretty good passer too. And I think he also has really good energy. He's also a Arkansas guy. He was from Bentonville. So, I mean, just add either a Canadian or a guy from Arkansas to the Thunder roster. So
and another Kentucky player.
And another Kentucky player. That's right.
What about his overall impact?
I think it'd be very impactful. I think he'd probably be a 4 to this team.
Okay,
I think that you would come in and you already have one of the best offenses in the league. You just add this jolt of scoring off the bench that you didn't have last year that can create off the dribble. Yeah, and can play with lots of different players. He showed that he could play with De'Aaron Fox just fine. Those are 2 small guards. The Thunder don't really have, as far as ball handlers go. You could play him with J-Dub, or you could play him in a 3-guard lineup, or there's a lot of ways that you could use him. So I like him.
His contract, feels like minimum 4 years, $100 million. If not higher. Apparently Detroit is interested and they have over 60 million.
I was going to say, if Detroit's interested, you're going to get outbid.
Yeah.
And if he's just looking for money. Now, if you're Malik, you could look at the Thunder and just say hey, this is a better chance for me to win at the highest level.
But you might not get the minutes that you got in Sacramento, or that you would get definitely, or than you would get in Detroit.
It would be, he would have to decide that winning is a priority for him and his career over minutes and money. Honestly. Because he's not going to get the same kind of shine that he would in either market, because they already have 2 guys here in Oklahoma City that supersede him. So I would say, he would have to decide that, which makes this feel even more unlikely.
So are you giving it a 1 for realistic, Andrew?
Yeah, I'll give it a 1. I just don't see it happening. I would be floored if we got a report from Shams that's the Thunder, are meeting with Malik Monk and he has significant interest in signing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I would be so surprised if that was the case.
Yeah.
And like we talked about with Hartenstein, he would be so far and away the best free agent they've ever gotten. It would be crazy. And someday, and I'm sure people are frustrated with me saying that, but someday there will be a free agent at this level that will consider the Thunder and that will sign with the Thunder. Someday that will happen. This isn't like the Thunder signing Luka, in free agency, or Jason Tatum, or Embiid.
There's all these players at this level. You can get them if you want them. You just have to usually overpay.
You have to overpay. And if you don't overpay, and maybe that's the situation, is like someday they will get somebody where they don't necessarily have to overpay to a crazy degree, but they just want to come be a part of what they're doing. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's, already that they want to do that. I don't know if that's later. I don't know if that's, a mid-level deal that they sign, whenever, a couple years down the road, like whatever the mini mid-level, the taxpayer mid-level is. At some point they're going to get their Pau Gasol, or they're going to get, their guy that we had been dreaming of. That I think that will happen as the city and the team continue to evolve and show that, like, we're a real force, kind of like San Antonio. San Antonio was thought to be a place where you couldn't really get free agents either, and LaMarcus Aldridge wouldn't sign there. That was a huge deal for San Antonio, a huge deal. I think something like that will eventually happen. It just hasn't happened yet.
All right. Next up, I'll do Trey Lyles.
Okay.
6'9", 234 from the Kings on an $8 million expiring deal. Shot 39% from three, 40% above the break. Took a decent amount of them too. 9.2 threes per 100 possessions. What do you think about the fit with Trey Lyles? Spacing big, Andrew.
He does do that.
Yeah.
He's an okay, but not good rebounder. He's an okay passer. The hang up that I have is, if you're going to bring in a guy at the 4, like, they better be good defensively. Like, is he your backup center now? Like, what position is he playing for you?
Andrew, I mean, you just, why are we worried about positions anymore? He played 70% of his possessions at center, 82% at power forward, but the previous season played 40% of his minutes at center. Has been a positive in both of these last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Is on off. He was a +8 this season for the Kings.
Yeah.
On off.
It just kind of scares me a little bit that it's like the Kings discovered that, like, yeah, we can't really play him at the 4.
That's where he played. He played 82% of his minutes at the 4.
I thought you said he played more minutes at the 5 this year.
No, he only played 17% of his minutes at the 5.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not a huge Trey Lyles guy. I don't. He's whatever. He's a 2.
Okay. What if I told you his nickname's Trey Mamba?
A 1.
Okay. What do you think about his overall impact? Oh, by the way, he's also Canadian.
True.
And he also went to Kentucky.
True.
Would you like to bump up fit to a 3?
I'll bump it back up to a 2.
Okay. Overall impact?
He'd be like a 2. I mean, he's coming off the bench. He's basically like young, smaller Mike Muscala.
No, he's better than that. And his contract, only $8 million expiring.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's a 4.
Thank you.
It's
Wow.
easy.
Okay. And how realistic is this?
I mean, like, what are we doing here?
I don't understand why you're so angry at Trey Lyles. I'm trying to find you. I found you a big shooter, okay, who can come off the bench. His rebounding is actually solid. His rebounding appears low, but that's just minutes. His actual rebound percentage, 19.4% defensive rebound percentage. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Good. I don't know.
What if he's a diamond in the rough, Andrew, waiting to be unleashed on a better team? What's
a top level outcome for Trey Lyles
on the Thunder?
Yeah.
He's the backup big. He's one of the backup bigs.
Yeah.
Basically, all he has to do is just be better than Jay Will, essentially.
Yeah. So is he your backup center? That was one of my original questions.
He can play either. He could play with Chet. He can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he'd be super impactful, but I do think he'd be an upgrade, is what I'll say.
I
mean, he's a pretty good shooter, and he's been a pretty consistently good shooter
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
39%, 37%, 37% his last 3 seasons.
Yeah. No, I think he would fit in Oklahoma City very well.
Oh, really? Because you gave his fit a 2, Andrew.
I'm just not inspired by it, I guess. I'll bump it up to a 3. I'll
Thank
bump it up
you.
to a 3. He would fit
And
well. He might even be one of those guys that I think there are guys that get to Oklahoma City and they look better than they are.
oh, wow, I'm turning Andrew into a Lyles guy
Guys.
in real time.
Yeah.
How realistic?
I think it's like a 1 or a 2 probably. I just don't know.
Give it a 2.
If you're the Kings and you're trying to get better.
No, I don't think they should trade him because they have money issues coming up, and, like, why would you get rid of Trey Lyles, who's on a super cheap deal? You can worry about it next summer when you actually have to decide whether to pay him more. But maybe you still get him on a reasonable deal because he's gonna be 29 at that point.
Yeah. And, like, I don't know what the price point is either for Trey. Oh, I lost Alex. Alex is gone. I don't know what the price point for Trey Lyles is. I think, like, that is something that I would also wonder about. It's like, how much do you actually give up to get Trey? So, like, you're not giving up a first round pick to get Trey Lyles. So then it's like, is it worth it for the Kings to take on second round picks to get him? Like, I just don't even know. Like, it's just one of those deals. It would be like somebody calling about Aaron Wiggins. It's like no one's giving a first round pick for Aaron Wiggins.
Right.
But like, no, the Thunder aren't taking back like 3 second round picks for Aaron Wiggins either. It's just like, well, then, like, what are we? This is why I'm just like, what are we doing here? It's like it just doesn't make sense for the Kings to just like dump him for 3 second round picks. Like it just is. He's kind of in this zone where it's like, yeah, we like to have him on our roster. He's helpful to us, and
what about 2 seconds and Kenrich? Since they
No.
don't want to play Kenrich anymore.
No. Heart and soul of the team, man.
I have to go in 2 minutes, so we're going to not do Russell Westbrook. You know what? I'll just give him a 1 for fit for you, a 1 for impact. Actually, let's give him a 2 for impact.
Yeah.
Contract, it'll probably be cheap.
He'll probably be cheap.
3, 4, sure, 4.
Mm-hmm.
How realistic? 1.
Oh, right. I guess, yeah. You can go negative if you'd like.
And then Rui, just do Rui quick. Fit, Rui.
2.
Impact.
3.
No. Contract.
You don't think he's an upgrade over J. Will?
I'm not a Rui fan.
Wow, you love J. Will. What is it?
No, I just made the case for trading for Trey Lyles. I just don't like Rui.
Rui's better than
his contract 17, 18.3, 2 years.
It's good. It's like a 4. It's easy.
What? You love Rui. This is the farthest apart we've been on someone. And how realistic is this?
Oh, it's like a 1. I just don't think they're trading him either.
All right, we agree on that. Okay, finally we get to the one I actually want to end on. Kevin Durant. All right, here we go. I have 1 minute.
I was gonna say I don't think there's time for this. Should we save this one?
No, because we've talked about KD a bunch.
Yeah.
This is basically just a summation of all your thoughts on KD. So, what do you think the fit is with KD?
The fit is he's the kind of guy that we talk about all the time, like big forward that can shoot, defend, and do all these things. The only reason I would knock it down a peg is like I don't think it's time to bring in somebody that's going to take shots away from J-Dub and Chet, which he would certainly do. So I'd say it's a 4.
Okay. Overall impact?
It would be like a 5. Like the wake of impact in almost every way, on the court, off the court, everything. Like my life would fundamentally change in a big way if Kevin Durant was back on the Thunder.
Yeah, that's true. Athletic might have to get an official Thunder writer for that one.
I know.
His contract 51.2, 54.7.
It's probably like a 3. It's huge,
but
it's only 2 years. So like you can't give it anything below that, but it's a big financial commitment for sure.
And how realistic, Andrew?
This is where it's tough. I think it's probably like a 3.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it's completely unrealistic.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think it's like a foregone conclusion. Like, there are so many boxes to tick before you get there. And also, like, if you're the Thunder, do you really want to do that? Do you really, I mean, you probably have to have 50 meetings before you decide to pull the trigger on something like this, And Kevin undoubtedly wants to get to a better situation, and there may not be a better situation for him in the NBA, in that you get healing for your past sins, you get to be on a title contending team, you get to, end your career gracefully. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the Thunder retire KD's jersey. Like, that all goes away. Like, it just is, everything is so good for Kevin, I would say. Like, everything is good for Kevin. And for the Thunder, yes, it's good because you get much better. But I think, to me, the Thunder can find other pieces and be a title contender anyways. Like, he doesn't necessarily make you a title contender. I think they already are going to be one. But he, similar to like the Warriors, like, it just puts you over the edge in such a big way that feels a little unfair.
All right, Andrew, that means after we've done the entire Western Conference, we have a new number one.
Uh-oh.
New number one overall, Kevin Durant.
Trey
Lyles. Kevin Durant,
okay.
Time Lord, Lauri Markkanen,
Mm-hmm.
Larry Nance Jr., and tied for fifth, Naz Reid and Santi Aldama. It's a pretty good list so far, I would say.
That's a nice list.
And guess what? Russ is not last. Russ is second to last. Jonas Valanciunas is last.
Jonas Valanciunas. Poor Jonas.
Okay. So next week we will start on the Eastern Conference and then combine all of these together.
Okay. That was fun. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this special edition of Down to Dunk, where we're just trying to get through as many players as we can. Please join us at the draft party at the Jones Assembly.
Right.
For just the first round. I think we're doing night 2. So please join us there. We will have a fry pod tomorrow, so join us there. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.